Mate, what is with all these NRL fantasy podcasts? They all sound the fucking same. Welcome to the echo chamber.
Good evening. Welcome to the Wednesday night pod. I'm one of your hosts this evening, Bryce. Joining me tonight, backing up from his epic adventure last night, hosting Jay-Z. How you doing, mate?
Fantastic, mate. Voice is getting a bit sore, but getting used to doing two pods some of the time.
Some of the time, it's pretty much every week at this point. And then we got Rudley joining us. Big week this week. Rudley, how'd you go, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. I beat Jay-Z in another head-to-head back-to-back, so really asserting my dominance on this pod as the only and ever-to-be GOAT.
Yeah. I will just say that all three of us are separated by less than 5 points or something, so we're all pretty solidly entrenched in the top 5,000 in pretty good positions.
I just want to clarify on that point that I am the one that's at the top of us all being in the group.
Yeah.
So
This is the first week you've been ahead of me.
Yeah.
Let's clarify that. Mate, yes, back-to-back head-to-head wins for you. Well done.
And I've got you this week in a head-to-head, so it's about time I took your way.
I think you've got me as well, Bryce.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I'm going to get pumped. Anyway, we'll quickly run over last week's games, and we'll make it quick this week, because last week we did dribble on a little bit. Plenty of upsets last week. It was the week of upsets. And the first one happened very first round. My very first line when we were talking about Panthers with Rabbitohs last week was, do the Rabbits have a chance? And Jay-Z swore black and blue. There was no chance there. And they come out 10-point winners. Fucking, it was just really good. Colo, big Colo Tungy. Bryce for big Brink, big Keon. Jai Gray leading Deli M. He's just playing that well that this week Latrell's named in the centres. So, really good stuff.
We used to joke about Blake Taff being a kid that, he wasn't exceptional, but he was all heart, and that's why we all loved him. But Jai Gray is all heart in every play and actually also really fucking good at footy. And it's impressive to see him actually manage to hold Latrell out of that spot. I don't think that's going to be permanent, but props to the kid.
I think it's a huge call by Wayne.
He's got more heart than fucking most props in the league. Like, he's honestly a joy to watch. He's so good.
Yep.
And honestly, probably the best backup fullback in the league after the way they've started the season. I think I can say that pretty confidently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. So Panthers, just a really down game. No real attack coming from them whatsoever. They did fight back, score 3 tries, but it was just a bad game from the Panthers.
Panthers played shocking, but I think you'd be remiss not to say that they also got quite unlucky at the end with some really poor refereeing. Regards to that Leota try.
Yeah.
That really stumped their growth. But not full credit to the Cowboys. They managed to hold on when they were.
I wish, mate. That's this week.
Not the Cowboys.
That's this week, man.
The Panthers. I'm getting ahead of myself. Not the Panthers. The Rabbitohs.
Fucking hell, mate.
Full props, and they were absolutely gassed for that last 20 minutes. And somehow still managed to hold the Panthers out for as long as they did.
Yeah, Lindsay Smith, big score there. Jack Cole having a good game, making us some decent money. Really good game from Jenkins, so he's definitely a buy this week. We'll talk about that soon. From the Rabbitohs side, really happy to see Humphreys continue to make in game. Anything else from this? I don't think so. We'll jump into the Titans game. Another upset because 2 of us tipped the Roosters, and then your boys got up.
You guys didn't believe in me, did you?
No, mate. Well, to be fair, you've got the Roosters. Roosters fucking lost the game themselves. This was not a Titans win. This was a Roosters loss, in my opinion. They should have been 30 or 40 points up after 25 minutes. They literally ripped the Titans to shreds that first half.
Yeah, I don't know that they were the better side because they obviously... The scoreline actually looks like Titans dominated the game, but... Like you said, the Roosters should have scored 6 or 7 tries in that first half. Like we were talking about Tedesco on last night's podcast, and mate, I could have sworn he would have been on 70 points at halftime. Looked like he was breaking the line at will. For them to only grab 2 tries, especially after the Warriors game where they only managed 1, that's really bad. Like I don't understand how they're not scoring more points.
I do. Chad Townsend.
Mate, it's not, don't blame the chat. It was his halves partner, Sandon Smith, with 5 errors.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's disappointing for the Roosters. Obviously, they would have expected to turn that first hard dominance. I will just say on the Tedesco thing, the one line break is absolutely daylight robbery from the stats guy. He needs to pull his fucking finger out. I watched Teddy break the line 3 or 4 times in that first half. So, yeah, I think Teddy got robbed in that game. Jaden, good game, bailed out by an intercept try.
Yeah, you'd be a little bit disappointed with that, to be honest. Well, at least I know I am. You hope when he scores a try, he'd be pushing that 70 mark, at least in my view.
500 kick meters though. The guy's he's got the base, right? So I'm looking at targeting Jay-Z the moment I can now because that's 2 weeks in a row. Really good base. So
yeah, trade me in whenever.
Yeah, man, you're coming to run the water. Moving on to the next game after that was the Broncos and Dolphins, and you did say that due to it being a 4x derby, it was going to be a lot closer than what a lot of us thought, and it ended up only being an 8-point game. May and Haas, a little bit lower on the old average, with only a 67. Bit of a down game. Probably look at trying to trade him out. I'm joking. Anything to say in this game, fellas?
Yeah, I think Haas's minutes are very scary. As someone that captained Terrell May last week, he was having a quiet game, Payne. He sort of put the offload away in the wet, and it was like every run he took, I was like, please don't break the line, please don't score a try, please don't throw an offload. Like, it's really hard to anti-pod Payne Haas when he's playing like he's playing and getting the minutes that he's getting. And I don't know. There might have been something said pre-game that he wasn't like 100% in round 1 and 2, and he's building into it. And if there's any truth to that, and he's playing 67 minutes a game, then man, that's scary if you don't own him for whatever reason.
1 ppm in basically just base. It's
okay.
Crazy.
He's getting injured next week.
You said that last week, dude, and he fucking come out and got a 70. Like, yeah.
It's okay. I was off by 1 week. I'm telling you, this week's going to be the week. Man, I'm terrified. I'm watching everyone else have Yo, Haas, and May as their mid pairings, whilst I'm sitting here without Haas, death riding him. It's pretty rough. He looks so good this year.
Big fucking Shiba with another Bryce to fucking carry him to the fucking moon. I'm so dirty on this shit. Moving to the next big upset, the Dragons and the Storm. This was the upset of the round, in my opinion. No one gave the old Dragons a hope in hell. They went there and they played well enough to get the win. It wasn't even a throwaway game from the Storm. Dragons were just better.
Yeah, ugly game from Melbourne. They really missed Jerome Hughes in this one. Some of Munster's last tackle options were pretty poor, and Wishart basically played prop with the 7 on his back. That was the amount of times he took a hit up, like, unnecessarily.
What did he end up with? 151 run meters. Yeah, literally prop numbers.
So, fun fact, when the Storm don't have Jerome Hughes, their win percentage goes down to 46% compared to 76% with him. So what you can learn from that is when a team loses their starting halfback, it's a big loss. Surprise,
mate,
surprise.
I'll take a 46% win rate. Where do I fucking sign?
Wait, you're telling me if you lose the reigning Dalian medalist, your team gets worse?
I know. I don't want to shock you guys.
That's fucking crazy, dude. I thought they'd get better.
No, yeah, I think the Dragons played really well in this. Their defense was phenomenal.
Where was their normal backup half? Is he injured at the moment?
Jonah Pezzett is back. He just came back from his ACL and he's hurt his knee again. He's out for another 2-3 months, I think.
Fuck. Yeah, right.
Was it 2-3 months? Fuck, I thought.
So that's a big loss for the Storm. Yeah, that's huge. Not having either of your first or second string halfback. Okay. Yeah, but still, they should have put the Dragons away with the quality they had on the pitch. You know.
I kind of think that the Dragons aren't that bad. Like, they're a side that are going to compete, and if you're off, they're going to win a lot of games. It was a very Shane Flanagan type win from the Dragons. You know, just a bunch of blokes rolling up their sleeves and doing a job in pretty awful weather. If it was a dry track, I probably don't have as much confidence in them holding on, but they did a really good job of keeping Melbourne quiet in this one.
They certainly did. Moving on to the best game of the round, with possibly the best win ever by a team in the history of winning games. Cowboys beat the Raiders up there in possibly 55-degree heat. It was a scorcher. They had to have drinks breaks. All that was just total bullshit. Jake Cliff come out with a brace. Imagine that. If you chase a kick, right? Listen to this for a concept, right? If you put a kick up and then you chase it and you put pressure on, you may get the ball back. Right? That's a wild idea that we've got, guys. Maybe we should just try that.
Sorry, let me take notes on that one.
Yeah, just write that down.
Yeah,
I'm going to email that one to fucking Bellamy. Let him know.
Cliff was really good. I mean,
he showed heart,
I think
mate.
we see this with him all the time, where he, especially when he's like first coming into a season or just come back from reserve grade, he has a few like real good games where you're like, okay, this is the year. This is the time Clifford turns it on and becomes, like the prince that was promised. And if he can keep it up, if he plays like he played that game in the week before, like there's no reason why he can't be the Cowboys 7 for the whole season and have a really strong year.
Yeah, and Drinkwater was his normal electric self.
Drinky's great. He's the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, he was really good.
He's a buy in 3 weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll just have to watch what happens. Like, we're coming into a couple of rough games, mate. He could get a 10 this week.
So he's got Panthers, and he's got Bunnies, and then he's got the bye. I reckon he's a buy after the bye. But then he's got Gold Coast, New Zealand, Penrith, Manly. The only issue is he's got another bye after that.
We'll have to buy.
I'd be really tempted with that. Now that he's got goal kicking locked down, I think that base is going to be really useful.
The Raiders were funny in this game, right?
They savage bombed this for the Raiders. Full on bombed this game at the end when it mattered the most by being selfish instead of passing on the inside to, I think it was Sebastian Chris. If they score that, I think that they run away with the game. I would love to have been a fly in the changing room when fucking Savage came back in and would face Ricky.
You reckon?
I actually don't know if the right play was to pass it to Paddy. Like, I think Paddy was covered, but I think Savage is so quick that if he just decided to take Drinkwater on earlier, he would have beat him and scored.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I think that was the play.
He fucked it up. Yeah, absolutely, he fucked it up. But I don't think it was the lack of passing to Paddy.
Just Jackson Purdue, 217 run meters. He's making anyone who held him and didn't jump off the boat some money now. That's always good for him. Yeah, we'll talk more about all these players once we get to their actual games. Then we go into another upset. The Bulldogs over the Sharks. Fucking no Burton, no Kickow. None of us gave them a chance last week. And they come out and they put on a fucking clinic.
Yeah, I think like the Melbourne game, the rain was a bit of an equaliser. I think the Dogs are like a real tough roll up your sleeves and grind a game out type side. And they do get on top of you by just making less mistakes and having a lot of field position and just willing themselves over the line. And having Preston, who I think I said was going to top score, like, man, how fucking good is that guy? He should be, if he's not in the Origin team, he's not far off.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are trying to chase Preston either this week or next week. So... yeah, he's definitely a good player and a very good fantasy option.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to say Cam McInnes played 75 minutes in that game.
So did AFB. I don't have much nice to say about the Sharks' performance in this game because I thought they were fucking diabolical at times, especially in attack. But given that we lost Iro and Talakai, AFB and McInnes stood up and played very huge minutes. And you got to give props to that for them.
And you ended up with old mate Atkinson out at centre, and he just got torn to shreds.
I've been saying since preseason, Atkinson shouldn't be on our bench. He has to be this week, but I think Talakai should be our 14 going forward, and we should be running essentially a 4-forward bench. Because Talakai acts as that cover, but he can play through the middle when we don't have injuries. Yeah. I don't think Atkinson adds anything when he comes off the bench.
I almost think this game was evidence as to why they carry both, because Talakai went off for the HIA as well. And so, it's not perfect having Atkinson having to play centre, but it's better than having fucking Teague Wilton play left centre.
In all fairness,
especially for my fantasy team.
it would have been the core who would have gone to center because he's not bad at it. But two, like that's a freak
That's fair.
occurrence. Like what most teams don't run two fucking 14s. Like in this instance, like if a team, this happens to any team where their cover, like their 14 who covers their outside backs also gets injured with an outside back, the game's a write-off for them. I don't think you accept that the counter to that measure is to run two fucking utilities on your bench.
Yeah,
and I know
but
that Talagai's not technically a utility, but I think that's how he should be used, and it adds more strength off the Sharks bench. Because Atkinson is adding absolutely nothing coming on into the middle.
yeah, but the thing is, right, because Hines has been playing through injuries, so you need a backup 7 in that team. Like, the alternative is moving Brayley to 7, I guess, and playing McInnes at hooker, which, I mean, like, the Sharks are good enough and have strong enough forwards that they can do that. But, I mean, I think you'd rather just have the backup, especially, like, I guess McInnes covers 9. So, maybe.
I actually think that's the way to do it, because that's how they beat Melbourne, was running fucking Brayley at the halves.
I think Hughes was out that game as well, though.
He was out that game.
Yeah.
But I think that I just don't think that what they're doing at the moment at the Sharks is right. I think there's a lot of issues that this game has really revealed. I'm really annoyed that we lost that. I do think there's a lot of excuses to be made for the Sharks. Like everyone talks about how Burton and Kicks was out for the Bulldogs here, but just as importantly, we didn't have Hazelton or Katoa. Who are really crucial for our team as well.
And you've lost both winger and a centre now this year.
I know that's different to have missing a 6.
Yeah, 6 and you're like star back rower. I think that's a bit of a cop out, but no, I get it. Look, when people go down during a game, they just lose it, and Hines just doesn't have the confidence in these close games. Like he's playing really poorly if it's not a flat track.
Yeah,
well, that's the issue. Hines. Like the time that the Sharks scored this game, I'm not sure if you all saw it. It was when they did what they did the previous week, which is Hines ran up the back like he was a fullback, and then he put Iro through into a hole. Insane. That's how he's most dangerous, is when he's running up the back at speed and it's causing the defense to second guess. When he's acting as first receiver, there's no real fucking strategy, and it's very predictable, and the good teams will be able to read that. Yeah, Sharks really need to do a lot of soul searching.
We do get to talk about the Sharks very soon, so we'll just pump through these last two teams again real quick. Last two games from last week. Manly return service to normal with a grindy win against the Eels. I did say the Eels would be a lot better. In fact, I thought they'd actually win this game. They did prove to be playing a lot better this week, with only a 14-point loss. However, it is a 14-point loss, and they are now entrenched on the bottom of the ladder. So not good for the Eels.
This is probably their best chance to get a win anytime soon against St. George this week. Like, we'll get into it soon, but it doesn't look good for Parramatta at all. They look really, really bad. And even though, like, Manly were well off in this game and they still did it comfortably. So I'm not sure that Parramatta looked better as much as Manly looked significantly worse.
When it was 12-all, I thought, here we go. Chance for them to actually, close this game out, be competitive, but they just threw it away. So they just did Eels things. Top score for that was actually offhand Gowie with a try. So even a pretty low scoring fantasy game all round in that one. And then we did call the next game as game of the round, JZ. You were talking about how this had potential, and it didn't disappoint. 24-26 win to the Warriors. Nail-biting game. Beautiful if you were a neutral watching this game. Didn't know who was going to win. Terrell May, big 80-minute effort. I think you got very lucky. Terrell May capping us with all the shit that happened in the fucking Tigers. But you did get lucky, and you ended up with the 85.
Excuse me, I perfectly knew that Tigers were going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you also don't own Haas, rudely. I own Haas and I captain May. Look, my suspicion is that May actually will play 80 minutes in a lot of games when the games are close. I know, obviously, there was the pre-game shenanigans with Bird moving to centre, but, I mean, Fanua Bole played 70 minutes in this game. And I think he might have spent some time on the edge when Fainu went off, but, like, he's the alpha, and it's crazy to watch him play. Like, in the 70th minute of the game, he still doesn't look like he's tired. If he grounds the footy and scores that try, we're looking at like 110. points for him. Like he looks like he's not better than Payne Haas, obviously, but man, it goes Payne Haas, Terrell May, and then a cliff for the next best forward in the competition at the moment, even from a non-fantasy perspective. Like, as a Queenslander, you got to be shitting yourself at the proposition of those two starting for the Blues.
Well, we just got to hope that for whatever reason he doesn't get selected, right? There might be some shenanigans happening there, some, court case or something. You don't know. We just got to wait and see. I know a guy. That's all we need to know. Look, 48 tackles, 200 run meters. It wasn't like he had one try save. He didn't have these massive, huge, attacking stats. Fuck, I love the guy. This week's going to be really telling, and we'll talk about that once we get to the game. But Alpha Dog versus Alpha Dog this week, and I can't fucking wait to watch that game. So,
you're talking about Gajewski versus Seyfarth, right?
Yeah, mate, the goats.
The Alpha Dogs.
I almost just vomited.
In delight.
Yeah. We'll get into the
Sorry, before we move on, Alex Seyfarth gave away the game-winning penalty for the Warriors, so fuck you, Ridley. I don't give a shit about his fantasy score. He sucks.
Okay, I said, 2 weeks ago, that Alex Seyfarth was putting up some low scores to shake the non-believers. And those non-believers did shake. They were gone. His ownership dropped to below 10%. He became a pod. He's gone back up to 11 now. People have bought him in this week. It's wild.
That's crazy.
But you know what?
Crazy.
You know what is really shocking to me? Is that only 50% of people own Terrell May.
Oh. Yeah, it should really be 100%.
It should be. At least 70%. Because, people should have some idea what they're doing. Alright, we will get stuck into these games. That was a 20-minute quick take of the last round. First game, tomorrow night, Sharks versus Raiders. I'm just going to hit my F5 button to see if we got any late news come in. We have, but it doesn't look like it's... Oh, actually, Billy Burns has come in to play on the back row.
Oh, no.
Teague's out.
What's going on?
Teague is gone. Big news. I'm bringing in a back rower this week. I got no choice. All right.
Yes, same actually.
Oh man, we're fucked.
Yeah, huge news here, boys. Breaking news. Teague's gone. Have to do some investigation to see what actually happened. What are they saying here? You got Hazelton back. They don't say anything about why Teague's gone.
Interesting stuff.
All right. We'll thrown me a little bit there. All right, so we go through the Raiders. They're pretty much unchanged. Nicholson's still got that 12. If you brought him earlier, then you're laughing your way to the bank with Matty for a couple more weeks. Horse doing horse things. Who do we reckon's going to win this game? Raids?
I like the Raiders. I think Ridley pointed out in Discord earlier they have the wood over Cronulla.
Yeah, quite badly.
It's a strange phenomenon, and I actually really do believe in these rugby league hoodoos. There's Melbourne lost to the Dragons last year, and so I had an inkling that maybe they could do it again. So I'm going with the Raiders. They have a good forward pack that can match it with Cronulla, and Cronulla now have quite a few outs. Hirotti's playing for them. Billy Burns, that guy. They've replaced one of the most NPC white guys of all time with another NPC white guy, but who isn't good at rugby league. So I don't know. It'll still be a close game, but I think the Raiders will get it together at home and get the win.
Raids, are you backing your boys in or what?
I'm backing my boys, but if I was putting money on this game, I'd put money and a lot of it on Raiders.
Okay, so the Raiders are not favourites to win this game. And on the Tig news, I'd probably be throwing a tenner at $2.46 on the Raiders to get up in this game now. That's huge.
The issue with, and as I was going to say about the last game, is the Sharks just cannot find a fucking spine when it comes to a game that doesn't go their way. The Dogs game, a lot didn't go their way. And I can complain about interesting refereeing decisions, such as Mahoney's second hit, where he hits Atkinson in the head on the ground.
Yep.
And we now have evidence of how bad a call that was. We now have a crackdown on head highs, and I think that shot is one of the leading reasons for it.
Well,
despite that call, regardless of that, Sharks need to be finding a way to win those kind of games. And
Yep.
they didn't even look close to it for a lot of that game.
We're also going to bring in a new category this week, and it's who's getting sent off to the sin bin, right? So they've announced a massive... It's not horse, bruh. There's
It's
no
for sure
way,
horse
man.
game.
No.
It's probably going to be horse.
I guarantee
Don't say it, bro.
the other thing I'd bet on this game is because this will be the first game of the head high, and they're going to go overboard on it. There will be at least 2 sin bins in this game. At least 2. This game is going to be an awful watch, and whoever gets fucked by the ref most will lose this game.
What's the weather like in Sydney this weekend? Or it's in Canberra, actually. What's the weather like?
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Cold.
Yeah, not footy weather, surprisingly enough.
It's not wet.
Yeah. No, it's perfect footy weather. We love the cold.
Yeah.
Just hope it doesn't snow, I guess.
But I'm going to back the Sharks in this week. I think they need a bounce back from that horrid performance. It's just something.
Have you seen the Sharks bounce back before?
Yeah, but there's something not right with the Raiders. They should have put us away last week, and they didn't. Right?
They'll come back this week,
Yeah.
especially now that they're at home. Again, I'm backing Sharks out of more hope than anything else.
No, I'm gonna.
But,
I just got to. This is just a gut feel. I think backs against the wall. Few players out. I think they're gonna. It's gonna be really close.
well, I don't think it is, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think this will be. I think this could very well be a blowout, especially if it's the Sharks player that gets sin bin first.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, Stone Street, he's a good player, but he's been a bit of a liability in defense at the moment.
Yeah.
Hiroti is definitely not. He's not even a center. He's a fucking winger, and not a good one at that.
So you both
We're
on.
down to our third string fucking winger. Bailey Burns can probably do a job, but I'm not convinced when he's going to be partnered next to Hiroti.
Right. So you're both on horse to go to the bin, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go a little bit off here and say it's going to be Big Papa Lee because he doesn't mind a swinging arm. I reckon he's going to go to the bin for me. And that's just.
Fair. I mean, look. To be fair, Canberra, 4 of their starting forwards are pretty likely to get sim-binned at some point.
Yeah.
If there is a crackdown, Tapani, Horsburgh, Hudson Young, and Papali'i, they're all good for a sim-bin.
Yep.
Morgan Smithies probably is too. Now that I think about it,
Mariota, he doesn't mind a hit.
The one I put good money on as well from the Sharks team though would be Jesse Ramian.
I did think Jesse Ramian. I just don't think it's going to be the first one. Right?
I guarantee it'll be the most serious though. It'll be the worst hit.
We'll get to the most serious one in a couple of games when we come across Big Fat Troll. But biggest top scorer in this game, who are we going with?
I don't care because Teague's out, so Tamale's going to score a hat trick.
All right, Jay-Z's on Tamale. I see a lot of people fucking looping Tamale this week. Are you a bit worried about him?
I am, but I also think I'm reviewing my position on it because I think he's going to do perfectly fine given he's running at Mulatalo and Hiroti.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to loop because I've got a pretty decent option for my alternatives. I'm running Katoga and Nawa outright in my centers because I think they're going to both do pretty well. I think Nawa's due a crack out game this game.
Yep.
But yeah.
He just needs some good ball because none of those Sharks guys are particularly good one-on-one defenders. So plenty of tackle breaks will be on offer.
The issue is,
if he scores a try, it'll be great.
And the thing is, so I'd actually. I know we're not a gambling podcast, but I'd be chucking money on Tamale here because what will happen is, especially with it being a new a new combination on that edge of Mulatalo and Hiroti. Mulatalo did what he did the entirety of Iro's first year, which is cut in on the center because he doesn't trust Hiroti to do his job.
Is Burns on that side as well?
Tamale will go over untouched at one point in this game.
Okay.
Burns is left.
Okay. Right, who you going, Rudes? Big score, bud.
I'm actually going to back Tamale now that I've just said all that.
You're both on Tamale? Right.
Oh, he did Tamale as well? I'll back fucking...
You're right.
Let's go Jesse Ramen. Jesse Ramian. Come on.
Ramen noodles? Right.
Ramen.
We're on the ramen noodles, and I reckon Nico Hines is going to come out, masterclass this one. I've got some faith in him. I love a bit of Hines action. Anything particular apart from the fact that Teague Wilton just broke my heart.
Are you two selling Teague?
I'm not selling him because I got no idea what the fuck's wrong with him.
Illness is what Cronulla have said.
Yeah, I'm not selling him, dude.
It could be literally anything.
Yeah, he could have a fucking
Mate,
snotty
what
nose.
is going on at Cronulla? Like, didn't they all have COVID like a week ago?
Yeah, after Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Did they not have cleaners at Shark Park or something? Like they're just
Well, they do.
running around.
Someone has been down to Shark Park.
They do, bro, but they spend all day at the beach, man. They don't actually do anything. Right, we'll get into the next game. The absolute slaughter that is going to be a Cleary-led Panthers versus fucking Cliff Dog-led Cowboys. This is a bloodbath waiting to happen, fellas.
Yeah, I am going to come out and say it now. Cleary is my captain this week.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of 90-point games against the Cowboys, and I don't think the Cowboys have been this bad in the last 7 years since he's been playing. So, yeah, all stations are go for Nathan Cleary for me in this game.
I'm with you, Jay-Z. This is one of the big reasons I didn't sell Cleary. It's because of this game. Cool, that's pretty dumb logic, but he's going to go huge here. And
Yep.
I'm captaining him as well.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty easy. Panthers are just going to dominate this game. It's scary for me.
I think Yo won't do too great this game.
Yeah, no tackles. Yeah.
He'll probably come off at 40 minutes when Cleary scored a hat-trick and it's 46-0 at halftime.
Yeah. Are you all playing Jack Cole or looping him at least?
I haven't looped with Tamale at the moment, but I reckon I'm going to change that and probably then I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do. But I'm not overly keen on playing Jack Cole outright with Cleary in the team. And a lot of people were saying, I know Eddie was saying last night about how Cole had a much improved base last week with a lot more tackles. I think that had a lot to do with the way that the Panthers and Bunnies game went and the way that they were targeting Jack Cole and that edge. I'm not convinced that Cole is still worthy of being played outright.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I think he really benefited from having a lot more touches last week. Look, you can see just by looking at his run meters from the first two games versus the last two when Cleary's only played 10 minutes of that. He's run for over 100 meters in both games. He actually looked really good against the Bunnies, I think. I think he was Penrith's best player outside of Isaiah Yeo. And if he takes the line on a bit more, he definitely has the possibility to rack up some attacking stats, especially in a game like this. I'm not playing him personally. I think he's too likely to just score another fucking 20. But I don't hate the idea of playing him. He'll be in my loop this week for either Gilbert or Wilton. I don't know which one I'm going to sell yet. That's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works.
Yeah, I'm going to have to work something out now. Dig out. I may end up having to play Jack. We'll see what happens.
Not the worst case to hold a trade to play Jack Cole. I don't think Jack Cole's going to do that terribly, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he'll just be a low 30s, really.
It's more that if I'm not playing Teague Wilton, I'm playing Katonga up out of my centre on my edge.
I think that's fine for 1 week, personally. But
yeah, we'll see what happens. I got options to bring other players. I've got 670k to spend on an edge at this point. So, I might even take the gamble and go with a Cant, who we'll talk about pretty soon. I don't think there's anyone to talk about in the Cowboys team. As you said, Drinkwater could be a buy soon. What, to sell him? Does anybody want Bateman? Because he's for fucking sale from the Cowboys.
He went all right last week. He had 60-odd points, I think. 75 minutes. He randomly got a rest at some point, did he?
He should have just been dropped from the game, mate. He's so selfish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying him. I think if you own him, you hold him for now. If you've held him this long, I don't think there's much to really say about him.
Yeah, it's just we won, right? So any of the Cowboys scores, grain of salt. Because the Cowboys fantasy team scores well when the team plays well. And that's
it's worth mentioning, I think, that the two Tigers back rowers from last season are going head to head in this one. Papali'i named to start, running up against old teammate John Bateman. I fear for John Bateman's missed tackle count in this one.
He's getting murdered, mate. Then that is quite. You can quote me on during the week of the Discord that Bateman probably dies in this game. Right. So
is it going to be a bus for this one?
No, not a bus, mate. The Cowboys are only paying $4.25. I don't think it's enough to get on. That needs to be like $10 or something before you throw any money on that one. I think we need to move on.
They need Chad Townsend back in the side, I think, if there were any chance.
So we have actually just jumped over probably one of the best buys of the week here. In Thomas Jenkins.
Oh, Jenkins, yeah, sure.
Is everyone else bringing him in? I presume we're all pretty keen on him just because he's got such a low BE.
And his role looks safe, right? Because if they were gonna drop him, it would have been this week.
Yeah,
or
I don't think.
Like Casey would have come back into the centers, and Jenkins would have went out to the wing if they were going to move him anywhere. They brought Casey onto the wing.
Yeah, I'm very content that Jenkins' spot's quite safe. I do think his score last week was quite an outlier. I really don't expect him to score 50 again, to be honest. I think he's going to average around that low 30s.
20,
maybe a 35.
21 tackles. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes. He's the last time he played in the centers, he did get 18.
Yeah, I'm going to take the risk because I think there's a really good chance he grabs a try in this game.
Or
I think with that -1B here, that it's a punt you have to take. Plus, he's looked really good to the eye test.
Yeah.
I know you were a little bit more skeptical, Jay-Z, on Jenkins. Have you come around? Or?
I have leaned more towards actually buying him today. I did a bit of a look at how Penrith's left centres have gone this season. It's basically almost always like really good scores from whoever's played in that position.
Yeah, who's played in that position?
Like Garner, Alamotti. I don't know who played left centre in one of the other games, but basically all like 40 plus scores.
Tago's big games were always in the left centre.
He's playing on the right. That's actually a fair comment. He's been really bad since moving to the right, fantasy wise. I kind of feel like he's one of the guys where it doesn't make sense as to why he's going to be good, but he's going to be good for whatever reason. Like there are some like phenomenas in fantasy where you just need to trade someone in, even if it doesn't make a ton of sense. I was saying last night I'm not super high on him because I have a lot of wing fullbacks, and my plan is to bring in Walsh at some point, either probably next week, thinking with the Teague news, but I don't like Jenkins as a buy. Like, let it be known that he will be begrudgingly in my team. I probably will play him this week, but I'm not going to love doing it.
Yeah, I'm bringing him in. I think it's -1. Like, he gets a 20, he still makes plenty of money. So
yeah, and plus it's just skyrocketed. I think it's just one of those kind of pods where I'm one of those players that you just can't really afford to miss out because he could make 200k, and you're kind of gonna be sitting there looking like an idiot.
And he's running at Purdue, like.
Is he running at Purdue? Oh, perfect. Yeah, I put him down for a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably fair.
Yeah, definitely want to bring him in if you didn't bring him in last week, and congrats to everyone who jumped on last week and fucking took the gamble, because that was a pretty big gamble in my opinion, grabbing him last week. Probably a little bit more close game to watch, the Rabbits and the Roosters. Bookies have got the Rabbits pretty hot favourites, $1.66. What are we thinking, fellas? No, silence. Definitely silence.
I actually can't. It's weird things happen during these derbies. Speaking of the new rule they've invoked about touching a head goes to a sin bin, there will be a lot of sin bins in this game.
Well, I think there's going to be a send off, not a sin bin. Right.
Oh, and you reckon it'll be Latrell?
There's not going to be send-offs.
Latrell, mate. Latrell will be gone.
Unless it's particularly bad. Yeah, there's a lot of guys in this game that could do it. Like, Connor Watson doesn't mind a high tackle. Siwa Wong gets a bit lazy when he gets tired. Spencer Leniu is basically guaranteed to walk on and get sin bin first tackle. Like, Jack Wyden, Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker. Like the list goes on. There's a lot of guys that could do it. Everyone's favorite Newcastle Knights versus Cronulla Sharks moment is when Chad Townsend leaped 3 feet into the air to shoulder charge Callan Ponga. So it's not out of the question for him either.
Yeah, Sean Kempy doesn't mind a good fucking hit. You know, Jai Arrow's got a fucking streak in him. We just need to go back 1 second because I didn't get your sin bins from the previous game.
The sin bins from the previous game,
right? The Cowboys.
John Bateman and Papa Lee for Penrith.
I'm actually going to double down here. I'm going to jump with you on John Bateman because I think that's a lock, and I reckon the other one will be Cleary.
Oh,
Cleary loves picking up from the fucking legs and then tipping it head down to the ground.
I'm going Yo and Bateman.
Yo, you think Yo's going to head high someone?
No, it's going to be a falling Sam McIntyre, and he's not going to have control, and he's going to hit him in the head. That's what's going to happen there. Because Sam McIntyre loves himself a little fucking duck into the ruck. Roosters, Rabbitohs. Well, we'll get back onto this, something relevant.
What do you guys reckon Latrell scores?
Yeah, bringing Latrell into the centres. He doesn't touch the ball overly a lot, regardless in a game. Can he dominate from there?
Okay, but someone said he only touched the ball like 9 times at centre. He does that at fullback.
No, he does not.
He does not get involved at fucking all.
He does not. He scores way better at fullback. He touches the ball way more at fullback. At centre, he literally just does nothing for 90% of the game. Don't get me wrong. When he touches the ball, those carries are very impactful, but he does not go looking for meters. And the ball kind of needs to come to him. I don't know. That might change with the South side. Maybe he's a bit more active and tries to roam a bit.
He's definitely no Joey Manu. Right, and he's going to have that. What I'm understanding is he's going to have that Joey Manu role where he can roam around, but he's not a Joey Manu player, so I don't see how that's going to work.
Am I the only one who remembers fucking Latrell playing last year? He does not go looking for work, and he definitely sure shit will not be fucking roaming to the other side of the pitch frequently from centre to go get involved. He doesn't even do that at fucking fullback.
I mean, he goes looking for work. It's just at McDonald's, mate.
He looks really fit this year, to be fair.
I think Wayne will bring the best out of him again. I do think that.
Photoshop's hell of a program, mate.
I am curious to see how he'll go this week. It's been a hot minute since he's played centre in a league game compared to State of Origin.
Yeah.
It's not like he's running up against the best defender in the league in Robert Toyer. I think Robert Toyer is going to be in for a rough one.
Yeah, it depends on. I think this is going to depend on the mids, right? So whoever wins that middle fight will then allow these gun running outside backs to do that. Centers anyway to do their thing. Because you
reckon wins the middle fight?
I think the Roosters. Lindsay Collins, White, Crichton, Wong, Butcher, Watson. That's way better than Totola. Sean Kempy, who's mid at best.
Yeah, I'm a bit tempted to say the Roosters, but Wayne-flation's a very real thing, right? We all gave South no chance against Penrith last year. This is a team, and it's a trademark of all Wayne Bennett sides, is they come out and they absolutely front load their effort. They got out to a 28-0 lead against Penrith. And if they do that against the Roosters, they're a team that goes to sleep for the first 30 minutes in games. They don't really turn up until they're like, oh shit, we need to score points or this is going to get away from us. So I think it favours South, but my gut tells me this is going to be real high scoring. I think both teams will crack 20 points.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think you're right.
Are you going to back the Rabbits, Jay-Z?
I am going to tip the Roosters because they can't go 1-4, surely.
Yeah, I agree. Reeds?
I'm going to tip the Roosters. I think the Rabbits are due a loss. I think they really pushed it the last week. Saying that, I think they've got some good backs here. Hupner is a big back, but Duncan was not doing it for them. No,
he had a good game against Penrith. To be fair, he was really good.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty. I think he was absolutely diabolical against the Sharks. But I don't know. I think but I think Bunny's here just going to run out of steam. I do think I'm keen to see how Latrell defends. To be honest,
Well,
So
he
that was-
doesn't.
That was one thing I actually looked at when considering who to play in my lineup this week. I was harping on about it last night. Picking your best 17 this week is going to be tricky. Like, it's really tough to know who the right guys to play are. Latrell Mitchell at center averages 1 missed tackle. He is a very good defensive center. Yeah, that's career average, 1 missed tackle. He's actually really good defensively. I don't know if that means that he's just not in the frame for tackles, but I do have my worries about Rob Toya.
I was about to say, does
the
that
other
mean he
thing
only makes 3 or something? Like how many tackles does he attempting? Like, I'll have a quick look. You keep going, bro.
If I can counter that though, the when Latrell has played center, he's played in what was probably one of Bruce's best teams for a very long time in 2018 and 2019, which was when he was playing center. Like, yeah, he's gonna be good. I think he might be pretty decent defensively, but he's not got that same matchup that he had back in that day.
So yeah, he missed.
'cause-
He makes 9 tackles a game on an average career in the center. So that's 10% of his tackles he misses, over 10%.
So 1.4 miss.
Yeah, so like while yeah, it's only 1.4, one missed tackle a game. He doesn't make fuck all tackles. So that's interesting. Like, you get them centers, them Aikens, them sort of players that jam in to try to help out the defensive line. Mitchell obviously doesn't do that, right? He must slide. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to Wayne's philosophy there. I can't wait for this game. I think this is going to be a potential game of the round.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be game of the round.
Game.
I think it's just going to be I think it's just going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
I think the quality of football is going to be messy. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting refereeing decisions. I think there'll be a sin bin for sure, at least.
Who is it, mate?
I think who's the sin bin?
Yeah, bro.
It's Latrell. Like, it's not even close. It's Latrell.
Yeah,
Sorry. Actually, I take it back. It's Latrell or Cody Walker.
Latrell / Walker.
It is close.
Yeah.
Well, what are the thoughts here on Naf White? I've seen some people, and this goes to a lesser extent, Wong, talking about buying him this week. Am I the only one who thinks that's absolutely ludicrous?
I don't think he's a buy this week.
I think that's silly.
Yeah.
We talked about it last night.
Failed.
Yeah, but you went a bit far with it last night.
Yeah, well, look, to be fair, I actually kind of did agree with most of what Mitch was saying, and Eddie was just shutting him down. Like, you don't know what Trent Robinson's going to do, to be honest. He really does just sometimes throw absolute spanners at his forward rotation. Like, Collins has only been playing 40-odd minutes this year. He could play 70 this round. Like, I think he's starting. I don't know, but, like, there were games last year where Terrell May got 20 minutes.
Yep.
You watch Terrell May this season and tell me he's a 20-minute player.
Well, you watched him last year. He wasn't a 20-minute player. We were all furious when he was doing that shit. Like, we're like, what are you doing? Yeah. And they were losing them games too. That's what made that even more infuriating. Was you had your best forward sitting on the bench while you're getting fucking hammered. I
think you're bang on the money. And I think the other thing to note is, I think Eddie, he was too busy saying racial slurs to actually look at the stats here. And really, he's down to 50 minutes now when he played against the Titans. And that's with all their troops back. Like, I think that's going to be pretty close to what he's going to get now. I think it's going to be about that 50 minutes.
I think all their troops. I think all their troops back is a bit far, mate. They still got fucking Foteki's step and on the bench.
So more of their troops back. They've got fucking Butcher back. They haven't got Radley at the moment, which is
it's just Radley, right?
Yeah.
Who else is there to come back?
I mean,
you got Egan, the other Butcher.
You got Egan to come back.
Yeah, but he's like a fringe player at best. Like, he doesn't command big minutes in that team.
I mean, he was getting worked in the team last couple of years. It was like they were building him up into it, and then he did his big injury. So I actually had a big role pin for Egan this year.
I think Egan gets back into this team pretty easily. I think he gets about 40 to 50 minutes. Whatever Foteki's getting at the moment, he'll just take outright. And I think ultimately, so going back to White, I think he's going to get that 50 minutes now with their troops back. And at a 0.93 ppm, he's going to get a 47 at best. He's priced at 43. There's no 10 points of value here. It's it's clear like he is a cash cow. People are saying that you should hold him to boycott to Origin because he will have that be useful during Origin. You're not going to hold him for that long. He's going to have peaked by then. You want to move him on to someone else. I don't think White is a buy at all. I think if you start him, you're a genius.
I am.
You deserve, Yeah, I know, so am I. But I just don't think you should be buying him. And I think the same goes for Wong. Wong is well and truly sailed. I imagine. I don't know if he's going to get 80 minutes this week. I'm not convinced he will.
You think Steve comes and takes some minutes? Like, Spencer Lenny's not a huge minute player.
He's not.
Maybe not in the past.
Maybe because Radley's out this week, Wong will play 80. But Radley will come back, and I think Radley will go back to playing edge. Whether that's Radley's best position is a different discussion, but I think that's where he'll go back to.
Yeah, I mean, even with all the players missing from the Roosters, Spencer's biggest game has only been 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think like 40 to 50 for Spencer. I don't think he'll play less than that. No. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Lindsay Collins because, like I said, he does randomly have big minute games. Like Trent Robinson, like honestly, it's just the randomize button on his forward rotations. But I think we've probably talked about this for a bit too long.
Nat, literally, like my thing is Nat White was a good option. No longer. There's way better options to buy. We'll talk about them soon. Big score this game.
Not close.
Let's say Mark Nwanganita Wednesday.
Big Nuck. He got his try last week. Fucking, I told him he needed one, and he pulled one out of the bag for us. What are you going with, Rudes?
I'm gonna back Watson for a back.
Bring it on! Fucking make me tight in the pants. I think Teddy's gonna come out and masterclass this one. Yeah,
not a bad shout.
I think Teddy's playing really good football at the moment. He should have had so many more points in that last game. He got absolutely fucking robbed. So that is our Friday night sorted. You're well and truly pissed by the end of this game, which is going to be fantastic. Moving into the Saturday afternoon game, and this is probably one that you can hit the record button on and then just watch when you got some spare time. The old Eels and Dragons. I don't think this is going to be a cracker.
Completely disagree. I'm not recording a game from two fucking teams this bad and watching it later. Like, I'm either watching it live for fantasy purposes or I'm never coming back and I'm forgetting this game exists by the end of the 80 minutes.
I must be a bit weird because I don't mind the old watch it on replay.
I think you guys are actually both wrong. I think it's actually going to be a really good game to watch. I think it's going to be really close. Because both are going to be really desperate for a win. I think it's going to be a very sloppy game. But I think it'll be a good, tight game, quite the contest.
So, is there any love for the Eels?
Yeah, I'd love them to leave the comp.
Yeah, no, to win the game, mate.
It's a good one. I think if they're going to win a game anytime soon, it's going to be this one.
Are you going to tip them, though?
No, absolutely not. I think St. George really turned a corner last week. Like, they weren't too bad in the first two rounds. Like, they really should have beat South Sydney, and they were real slow starters against the Dogs, but they didn't look horrible. Like, there were moments of concentration, like lapses of concentration, rather, where they let the Dogs score soft tries. But there's enough talent and there's enough hard work in the St. George side that I think they will outmuscle and, I mean, the halves aren't great, but they're better than Parramatta Spine, which is a bit fucking atrocious, to be quite fair.
I'm just going through the team sheet, seeing about buys and sells and what's happening. The only one really is the Katoga in the centres, realistically. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about Riley Smith?
Do actually. I'm really high on him. I think he's one of the best cashies to buy. I just don't think he's a buy this week. I think you buy Jenkins this week because he's got a low B and can make a lot more money this route. But you watch Riley get confirmation on what his role is going to be this week, and then you grab him next week because I think he's going to make a lot more money overall than all the other options we're talking about this week.
I do agree with that. I think he's going to play the most hooker minutes for Parramatta. I don't know if that's enough to buy him, but I said last night I think that he's going to play like 60+ minutes in this game. There's a bit of a narrative that Walker might play some minutes at hooker, and he might, but I think it'll be very few.
I think it'll be 20 to 25 at least. I got called a madman when I said when Dylan Walker was going to Parramatta is to play somewhat a hooker role. Everyone called me mad, but now look at it. There's not Riley Smith is not going to play 80 minutes. No way in hell. He's going to play lower minutes because I just don't think he's ready for an 80-minute role. I'd be surprised if the coach forces him to play 80 minutes.
I still don't understand what Dylan Walker's role is going to be in this team, and I do want to see what that is. I got no idea with it. Interestingly
It'll
enough,
be 13 in lock. It'll be 13 in hooker. It'll be a split.
I was going to say, is he playing the same position twice? Is he going to fucking duplicate himself? That Dan
He's going to be that impactful.
Yeah, Dan Keir, right, the 17. He actually came on, and we came on for the 13, right? He came on for Hopgood. Did he actually play on the edge, or did he play in the middle? Did anyone actually
Mate, I can't tell you that he even took the field. Like, I watched this game. Like I said, this guy has the last name of like a high jumper from New Zealand, so did not even realise he stepped foot on the field, to be quite fair.
Yeah, that's a fair analysis. I do feel like this is the 17s battle out for trap of the week. After you guys spoke about it earlier, between Egan and Kerr, I wouldn't be touching either.
So yeah, let's talk about Egan a little bit because a lot of people are very high on him, and we had a small conversation before we booted up the pod today, just to discuss because I personally couldn't figure out why everyone was high on Egan. And I think Jay-Z, you said you had some similar concerns about Egan.
Yeah, I just don't see where the minutes come from, to be honest. Like, last week seems like a bit of a one-off to me.
Yeah, I'm entirely with you. I did a bit of a breakdown, and I'm not going to go through each number, but essentially for Egan to get a good 40-minute to 50-minute role, which is really what you're kind of hoping for here, I think, you need to have both Clem and Blake Lowry, who are both the starting props in this team, getting about 25 to 30 minutes each. I definitely think that the Dragons are playing a game where they want at least one of those props to play low minutes. I just don't see a world where it's both those props who are playing a 20 to 30 minute since the start of the game and then never being seen from again. I just don't see where these minutes come from, as you said, Jay-Z. I think Egan could make some money because he's so cheap, but I just don't think he's going to make enough money, especially when there's so many other cashies who will make a lot more than 100K.
Yeah, and he could be a real slow burn, right? Like, you don't want another guy that's going to end up like Iongi who gets stuck on 340K or something. So I have my doubts whether that he's going to play more than even 30 minutes, really. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Unless, like you said, he's playing two different positions as a rookie, which is a pretty big ask.
Yeah, it was him to play 20 minutes at fucking edge over Leilu and then to play some time in the mid. I just don't see him doing that. I don't see Flanagan asking a rookie to play those two roles. I think this is a bit too much.
Are you all getting off Iongi this week? You didn't get off him last week?
I might hold him, actually. With the Teague news, I'm going to try and play around with trading both Gilbert and Teague out. I don't know what that looks like yet, but it might involve like a Hopgood or something, or a Preston being brought in, which means Yongi stays in my side for one more week. So I kind of want to see how he goes against the Dragons. I actually think he's playing quite well in real life. He's clearly not the problem at Parramatta, and he's trying to create where possible, and it's really tough for like a 3-game rookie, right? I want to give him another chance, but we'll see.
I think Young will put up a good score this week. Just a couple things, though. The concern I have with Yongi, and please tell me if you disagree with this, I think Yongi is one of the most predictable players to read at the moment in the NRL. And I know it's because he's so new, but every time he gets the ball, he runs it. And it's defense are really catching on to that and shutting him down. If he offloaded or passed, he would get a lot more stats as a result, because the one time I've seen him pass, when he's in that kind of position. He's got a try assist.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit concerned about Iongi in that respect. I got off him last week.
I got off him
and I
last
brought
week
in
as well.
Toga.
Yep, same move.
And I reckon that would bring us to the next cash cow of the week that a lot of people are gut jumping on, which is Katoga.
Well, and is this the last week to get on him?
I am hesitant to recommend people buying Katoga this week. I think last week was actually the week to get on him. I am still not convinced, and I know people say otherwise, that he's going to play 80 minutes a week. I think, again, in the Eels v Manly game, Sean Lane copped a HIA, and Sean Lane came off as a result. I'm not convinced quite yet, and I would be happy to be wrong as an owner of Katoga, but I just don't know if he will play 80 minutes. And plus, I'm sure Jay-Z raised this yesterday, and he's a big stater of this. Katoga's reserve grade stats are not great. And if you add that with the fact that Katoga just does not seem to be running the ball at all, and he's in an atrocious team, there's real concerns about how much money he's actually going to make. And if he's made 41k last week, that could be a good portion of it already.
Yeah, I think saying his reserve grade stats are not good is almost an understatement. They are eye-bleedingly bad. He scores a lot of tries in reserve grade, which he's not going to do for Parramatta, and he misses so many tackles it isn't funny. Like he doesn't run the ball that much in reserve grade either. I think he's just not a natural footy player. And so he doesn't kind of have the smarts or know when to get involved or take the right runs. He's just a big body on that edge. And while he hasn't missed too many tackles in first grade yet, I think that's a bit of because he is. Actually, it's Hawkins next to him. I was going to say because he has Dylan Brown next to him, but I think it could get real bad for him real quick. And he could just pump out another 20 like he did in 60 minutes against the Tigers.
Yeah, I actually do not think you should be buying him this week. Yeah, I think there's just too many question marks. Again, I'm still not convinced about that minute thing. I'm actually probably going to take him out of my starting side and put him in my emergencies because I have serious concerns that he will not play 80 minutes. And as to the missed tackles, last game against Manly went right a lot and didn't run at Katoga as much. Katoga actually went looking in the middle for tackles, which I think is a big reason of why his tackle count is so high.
Yeah. Fair.
Plus, he's also. Am I right in saying Katoga's next to Lomax, which obviously would help him in defense a bit? Because Lomax is a very good defensive center in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah, Lomax is on the right. Yep.
Yeah. I don't. I think Katoga is definitely a better buy than Dylan Egan, but I don't think he's the best buyer this week. I think Riley Smith and Jenkins are the cash cows of the week. Would you guys agree with that, or do you think that you have a different order?
I think Jenkins is the number one boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Smith is the number one for me, and then I actually really don't like Jenkins at all. He's going to make money. He's probably going to make 100k almost guaranteed, but yeah, I don't know. I don't love him.
All right,
the thing I like about Jenkins is he's going to make 100k and he's going to make it quick. That's the thing that I'm really keen for, or at least I'm hoping for. Because he's got Cowgirls and then Finns back to back. Like, if he grabs a try on one of those, you imagine he's going to do pretty well. Like, I imagine he's going to make that 100k within like 4 weeks or so, and then you can punt him off pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
That's my mindset.
He's a good shout for at least a try in the next couple of games. So I mean, it's not the worst. I just it's not a slam dunk by any means.
I'd agree with that.
Who is Simbinning in the game?
Hopgood and Jack DeBellin.
Jack the Felon.
I can't make that joke. I'm going Adokar.
Well,
a winger.
We're coming from nowhere. Right.
He'll run third man in and just fucking headbutt someone. I can tell you right now.
I'm gonna go with. I think Clem. He's just got it in him.
That's actually a good shout. I rate that.
Clem's just got in. Big score.
I don't want to keep delaying the pod too much, but I do just want to talk about two more players a little bit further. Hopgood.
2.
Yeah, Hopgood, you just mentioned you were interested in buying him. Are you not concerned buying him this week is probably not the best idea because Dylan Walker's just arrived in this team and you'd want to see what his role is and how that might impact Hopgood?
Not really. I think with Jack Williams out, he's pretty much guaranteed to play somewhere between 55 and 65 minutes. His minutes getting lower the past few weeks has been a little bit.
Oh, we might have lost Jersey.
A little bit concerning.
In smaller minutes.
Yeah, I think my feeling is that it might just be exacerbated by the appearance of Dylan Walker. I imagine Dylan Walker's main role would, in theory, be lock. But again, we just don't know what Dylan Walker's actually here to do because his signing makes no fucking sense.
I don't think Jermaine Hopgood gets any less minutes than 56, 57.
But I think I might lock him at that 50 to 60 minute role, which is probably not what you buy him for.
I don't think you buy him to make money. You're buying him for a low 50 average.
But are you getting that with a 55 to 60 minute role?
I think you will.
Yeah, fair enough. And then the other one I just wanted to raise was the couch man. Concerned about his minutes or still a roaring buy?
I think there's a genuine concern around his minutes. They're not going to be 44 every week. Like, I think it'll be closer to 50 most games. But if it's only 50, then I don't think the value is there as a buy. Obviously, his dual position's really handy. But you kind of want to see him go back to that 60-minute role, which I just don't know if he'll get with Clemmer at the club.
I'm personally, I can't because I don't have enough cells in my team to force another trade. But if I could force another trade, I reckon Couch would still be coming into my team. But that's mainly because I'm personally so high on him. And I think that there's sometimes you just got to take the punt on a player, one, because of your gut, but two, because the upside is becoming a keeper. And I don't think I'd recommend anyone else take it unless you're that personally high on him. But I am very high on him, and I wish I could buy him this week. I think after this week that you can't justify buying him anymore. It was definitely not. I think last week was definitely the week to buy him.
I was torn, man. I've been torn all week with what to do with Toby Couchman, whether to bring him in or not. I've got the money to do it. I've got 670k to bring him in. That was before Teague Wilton decided he wanted to call in sick this week. So I may pull the trigger on Couch this week with Teague being out, just so I know that I'm going to get a 50 on that edge. Even if he does only get 50 minutes, his PPM this year is good enough for him to get that. So, especially against Parramatta, right?
Yeah,
because they're a middle team. They like pumping it down the center. So I'm probably still happy to bring Couchman in this week. Break even of 33. He is still going to make you money, even if it's that wave of the low break even, right? So you're going to make money on that wave, and then if you're not getting the 60 minutes, you can sell at the top because then he's just a cash cow.
That wave will only carry 7 points of value, which is enough, I reckon, to justify taking the risk when he could become an underpriced keeper. But I don't think you can really say that wave's going to get him too far. He'll get him 2 extra points of value, realistically, in my mind.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's worse buys. I think there's a real issue at the moment of buying mids that have value. But I know a lot of people don't need mids because they've got Yo, Haas, May, potentially all 3 or 2 of them plus a horse or a fish. But if for whatever reason you need a mid, or more likely you need an edge, I think you can go a lot worse than Couchman. Anyway, I think that's enough about the spoon ball of the round for Eels and Dragons.
Yeah, it's just so much. I don't know. It's so much up in the air. I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know what Couchman's minutes are going to be this week.
And just so you know, listeners, whatever Jay-Z says about not buying Couchman, it's just him gatekeeping as an owner of Couchman. So ignore whatever he says and do the opposite. He wants to give him a pod.
We finally get it. Anything else before we jump? Oh, actually, you know what we haven't done is big scores, fellas. Come on, who's your big scorers?
Toby Couchman.
I'm on there.
He's not a buy, but my God, he's got to score 80.
I'm on there.
In all seriousness, Iongi's scoring 65 this week.
I do it, man. I sold him last week. Hold on.
It's Iongi time, baby.
Oh my god. Rude, what's going on?
Well, taking Jay-Z's notebook, I'm going to say, after saying Dylan Egan's not a buy, he'll be the highest scorer of the game. He'll also be in my team. Get fucked, everyone. No, I'm going to back Damien Cook for a big game, actually.
Big Cookie. I don't. What? He's scoring a hat trick at center, is he? Where's this shit? I think Lomax coming up against his old team, he's going to go out there and fucking put it on for him.
I didn't even think of that. Lomax will have a huge game.
Yeah, Lomax is going to go out there and just absolutely pull this team to pieces.
Lomax ATS, man. Anytime try to score, he'll get one for sure.
Get on there. Mid game. The next 4X derby, because it's fucking course there's a 4X derby this week. The Titans versus the Dolphins. As I said in the review, I think the Titans were super lucky to win that game last week. And I actually am going to go with the Dolphins. Get up.
Oh, you're joking.
Nah.
Mate, there's not a forward. How is Dolphins forward pack going to compete with the Tits?
Because they didn't crumble to a Haas-led Broncos pack, which is better than the Titans. They're not going to crumble to this Titans pack, mate.
Yeah, but that was because that was the Brisbane Derby. This is the Titans v the Finns.
Oh, mate.
To say that they're rivals is a bit of a stretch in my mind, especially when there's 4 Queensland teams now.
They're not rivals, but Plath's back in his favourite position. He's going to tackle his fucking ass off, and he's going to shut down the middle.
I don't hate it. I actually don't hate it. I think this is the game of the round, personally. For no reason other than, like, this is just going to be a bunch of Cowboys going at it like gung-ho, just firing shots left and right. The football's probably not going to be great, but it's going to be fun to watch. Max Plath back at lock. Mate, I love that little nugget. And Jaden Campbell is just going to come into his own as a 7 and start running the footy a bit more while maintaining his kicking. And it's just going to be an absolute shootout. I am really excited for this game.
He's going to need to come out of his shell though in this game. Like, this is his last chance to show me that he is going to be what everyone says he's going to be. Because the last 2 games, he has scored okay. He scored well, actually, not okay. He scored really
terribly
well.
Done. He's averaging 64.
No, like, he scored really well, but he was
a mediocre piece of shit.
But he got incredibly lucky in both games. Right?
I don't know about incredibly lucky. Like, the guy's got basically 18 points in base stats just from kick meters.
And
he's a surprisingly good defender. Yeah, obviously, like, that's a fluke, but he's a fullback who's seeming like his base. He had a horrendous game against the Bulldogs, right?
Yep. Scored
46. That's actually what convinced me to buy him, was that in what was like a terrible, terrible game for him, he scored 46 points. So I think he's fine, and he actually looks okay at 7. He's obviously no like elite half yet, but the signs are there. Like, he's not that bad at a 7. Like, naturally, he understands the game very well. That intercept try. One thing I will say that I noticed in the Roosters game is he cleared up like 3 or 4 kicks. 2 kick diffusers. It's like his fullback in him. He's just got a really good understanding of footy. Like, he's such a natural player.
Yeah, I am going to try to do something this week so that I can target him next week. It's not like I'm not a JC believer. I do think he is going to be the highest averaging wing fullback of the year. Like, just because of the fact that he's got that base. It's just that I'm not convinced by the Titans as a team.
Oh man, I look at this game and I go, "Fuck, the Titans could really do with Keeney right here." And
yeah, but they don't got him for the rest of the year. He's gone.
I know. And
but I mean, I think last week sort of shows that they have a bit of dog in them. Like I said, the Roosters should have scored 6 or 7 tries in that game, and they didn't. And that's a testament to the Titans' defense as much as it is the Roosters bottling tries.
Yeah, I'm keen. I reckon Tits go 13 plus this game.
All right, so Jay Ridge is on the Tits. You on the Tits as well, Jay-Z?
Yeah, I am, but with no confidence.
No confidence whatsoever. Any raging buys apart from Jay-Z? If you're an AJ Brinson enjoyer, are you shadow roaming? Are you getting off? 40 with 2 tries?
I have a mindset that you don't sell players that are likely going to be buys very soon. And, like, I think AJ's going to put it together at some point, and I'm going to be buying him at some point. I just don't know if he's going to lose 50k more before that happens.
So, if AJ was named at fullback this week, I would say
buy.
probably hold, buy. The fact he's still named at 6, and I'm sorry if you can hear a puppy yelping in the background, but a puppy sitting. I think he's a sell, man. I think you've got to get off or you've got some value before he loses it all.
Again, he got 49. He stopped his.
But he scored 2 tries, man.
I'm very aware he is playing dog shit in fantasy terms at the moment. But he stopped his price losses. You can give him one more week. At least that's my mindset.
Look,
I wouldn't be trading him. I think he is a frustrating watch and a frustrating own, but the time will come when he has a couple of big games, and it might not look the same as what a gun wing fullback will do, but I mean, there's enough of a sample size to say that he actually scores sort of mid 40s at 5'8", and yeah, it didn't look great last week, but you have to remember the Titans had basically none of the ball and very little attacking opportunity. So it doesn't matter how you score points as long as you score them. And you know, the 13 aside in round 2, he hasn't looked too bad.
So the other thing I would add is that the Tits draw for the next 4 games is pretty favourable as well. So they've got Finns this week, St George next week, Canberra up in Gold Coast, and then they've got Cowgirls. Like it gets
4
a
losses,
little more
mate.
dicey after. It gets a little more dicey after that. I think most of us should have more pressing sells than AJ.
Well, I do now because Teague's out, right? So if Teague wasn't called in sick, Brimson's the biggest sell on my team.
I know I know it's very easy to say AJ's a hold when I don't own him, but I don't think that he's the one that you should be forcing out of your team early. Like if you have no one else to sell, I guess I can't convince you otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I may be just going Sandon Smith to Jenkins, and then that's it.
Well, again, like he scored 49. I know it's with 2 tries, but he's got his B back down to what he's priced at.
Yeah,
or just above. Yeah, I know. It could go either way. I don't see the harm in waiting one more week, especially when they're versing what I think most of us have as the Spoon team for this year.
Yeah.
Parramatta.
But
yeah, Parramatta's the Spoon team, mate, because
I'll just wait until we see Parramatta v Finns.
I don't think we spoke about it, but Moses is now confirmed to be gone for the entire year.
I thought he was back
Is
around
he?
23.
Didn't I see today that he's back in round 9? I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god!
I'm pretty sure I read
one.
something today that said he's ahead of schedule and he'll be back in round 9.
We need to go and talk to our fucking editors in chief, mate, because the guy I read on the weekend was he's gone for the year.
I've seen this article. It says it's at least round 9, but that's fucking 0 tackle. So I trust that as far as I can throw the fat kid in a
It's literally on the NRL.com homepage. Moses takes step forward. He's targeting a round 9 return. Is the latest news.
That's definitely a lie. Anyway,
okay.
Who's gone to the sin bin in this game?
That's a good question.
Tino and Dan Saifidi.
Oh yeah, I like a bit of Saifidi.
I'm gonna say Lemuelu. No, not Lemuelu. Where's Kafusi and David Fafita?
Fafita, interesting.
I think Kafusi's pretty much got to be locked on, right? Like that's my.
He'll walk out of the pitch and instantly walk off into the bin.
That's my pick, mate. It's Kafusi just getting. That's close to a send off, not even just a 10 in the bin, mate.
Yeah, just jokes aside for a second. Do you actually think how many sin bins there will be this weekend?
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be that many.
I think there'll be like 3 in the first 4 games, and then they'll get the phone call. So Saturday they'll come right back on Saturday. The final game of the Saturday, because I don't think there's anything else to talk about. What are the fucking odds of that game? Yeah, $1.50 Titans are favourites for that, so definitely backing the underdogs in the Dolphins.
So they should be.
The battle of the Alpha Dogs in Alex Seyfarth and Jack Goweski. Holy shit, butchered that name. Now, you mentioned that the 5 worst back rowers are playing in this game, Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just...
It's a real shit fest.
Like...
Who are the other two?
Surely you're not talking
Kobe
about...
Etherington and Alex Twal.
Yeah, okay.
So Samuel Fainu is the only guy that looks like he is good enough to play first grade football on a consistent basis for more than like a season.
Look,
I did not realize Alex Twal played second row.
I mean, the lock pack's the back of the scrum, right? He's a back rower, technically.
Okay, I think that's a bit of a stretch for sure.
Look,
I'll take it.
I think you need to add a 6th, mate, and that's Jack Bird. When he plays
Jack
on
Bird's
the
not
edge.
that bad. He's fine.
On the edge, man.
He's a dangerous player. He offloads, he tackle busts. He's a fine second row. He's a super talented guy. Just been like really unlucky with injuries throughout his career.
He just can't tackle.
He can tackle. He's just got no fucking knees.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Luai and Skelton are out this week. Because I actually would have been tempted to tip Tigers if they were there.
Yeah, but you going Broncos.
Especially with fucking Gajewski and Piakura lining up on the edges.
I see that weapon, and all I see is Seyfarth running over for 3 guys.
Now,
yeah, I mean, you look at Brisbane's like 1-10, and you're like, holy shit, this team is winning the comp. They are unreal. And then you just look at the rest of the team sheet, and you're like, maybe not.
So you see Shibasaki and his beautiful goatee and go, fuck, that's a premiership winning facial hair combo there, is it?
He's been pretty good, man.
how long?
He's been decent. I hate it.
So how long is Luai out for?
He's suspended for 1 game, but there's rumours he has a shoulder injury. There's no words on the extent of that.
Video shoulder. Be watching Latu then, if that's the case. See what's going on there.
The rumours unconfirmed is that he hurt his shoulder when hitting that Warriors place in the face with it.
Yeah.
So
Got a tooth embedded in his AC joint.
how the hell are you going to get Sinman for that is beyond me.
This week it probably would have been a send-off, mate.
Fucking
we're all on the Bulldog, the Broncos, yeah. Just with the fact, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This looks like the Tigers team of last year.
We're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to pick who picks the biggest score. We're just going to say who wins out of May and Haas.
I'm going to go Haas on this one.
I'm going to go May.
Yeah,
I think this is the first time May's come against like a decent middle. He's had some softer ones, and mate, a first 10-minute HIA for both of them wouldn't go too bad as a Cleary captainer.
Oh. Yeah, it would ruin your week though. Surely, like you'd be getting like a 700 if both of them
Everyone
went
owns
down.
Haas and May.
Not if you have Cleary captain, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Cleary captain enjoyer this week, so I'm with you.
I'm back in May here solely because I know Haas is getting injured this game.
He's not.
All right, next game.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
One other thing I want to talk about is, again, and I think we can't hammer this home enough with Jay-Z here, is how good Seyfarth is going.
Should I just mute him?
You know he was the reason they lost the game last week, right? Like he gave away that penalty right in front of the post for Luke Metcalf to win the game. So that's all I need to say about Alex Seyfarth.
That was not a penalty. That was a fucking terrible call.
It was a sin bin. He should have been fucking suspended for 16 weeks.
Fucking CMK runs at Alex Seyfarth, who's standing there, and then purposely like bends over to get his head into his shoulder while Seyfarth is not moving. It's
I was actually surprised Jack Bird wasn't named instead of Seyfarth this week.
Yeah, actually, see.
Yeah, because that's a coach killer, man.
Do you have Seyfarth in your team?
No, I sold him.
Oh, no wonder. I'm stuck with a bunch of non-believers. I'm the only one here with any common sense as I ride Seyfarth to the moon.
Yeah, I don't know about
He
that.
sucks. He sucks so much.
He's a terrible fantasy football player, but he's a great fantasy scorer.
West Tigers are paying $6 this week.
That's actually good odds for.
Wow. Up in Brisbane.
Yeah, but Luai out is a massive one. I mean, Jordan Ricky is a big out for Brisbane as well, but they just have too much class all over the field.
Yeah,
I think the bigger issue is, to be honest, is Skelton out. That edge for Tigers of Lueli, Lee, and Toa, I just think he's going to get ran at by Cobbo and absolutely shredded.
Cobbo and Stags. Ouch.
Yeah, I don't like that. To be clear, do not play Toa this week if you own him, guys. I think he's in for a shit score.
I actually don't agree with that whatsoever. I had a look at this as well because, like I said, where I think the edge is going to be this week is in getting your cheapy picks right, and both the Brisbane centres are pretty bad defenders. Out wide, and their back rowers are fucking pitiful. Like, we've been through that, right? The edge defense won't be there for Brisbane, so I think Toa's actually not a bad shout, especially with how good he's been looking these last few weeks. Like 50 points, yeah, he scored a try, but it wasn't the biggest try. It was like an 8-point try. So you take 40 points from a centre, and he looks like he's willing to tackle, bust, and offload as well. So I'm playing Toa in this game. I have more confidence in him than I do either of the Roosters centres.
Yeah, so you're playing
back Noah?
Okay.
I'm playing Noah, but I would rather play Toa over him.
So you've dropped Toya then?
At the moment, he's in my team. I think I don't have much money invested into my back five. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I might have a rubber arm, but I think you're slowly convincing me to play Toa instead of Katoga.
Yeah, fuck Katoga. He's going to score 20 points. He sucks.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that's an edge back row is going to get 40. Yeah, mate.
Are you captaining one of the people in this game, or are you captaining?
Oh no, I'm a Cleary captain enjoyer, mate. Against the Cowboys, you cannot. If you are someone who owns Cleary and you do not captain him against that shit team, there's something like you need to go visit some help. What does the Alex Seyfarth thing say again? No, the Judgowski. What does that one say again? Go seek counselling.
Therapy.
Yeah,
go seek counselling.
Yeah, bro. Like, have you considered therapy? Serious? Like, what are you doing?
I actually think Haas is the safe captaincy option this week. I mean, Tarome is never going to be a bad option, but I think given the minutes we've seen Haas play in these last two games, and just the way he's playing, like he looks so good. I think he is the safest in terms of risk, because if Cleary goes wrong, you're fucked. If Haas goes wrong, there's so many other people captaining Haas that there's some risk mitigation there, right?
Simbin.
Payne Haas. And Terrell May.
What's going to happen is Payne Haas is going to come out. He's going to hit someone high. He's going to use a sin bin. He's going to come back onto the pitch. And whilst walking onto the pitch, he's going to do his ankle. And that'll be in for the night.
Ah,
I'll tell you right now.
So I think it's going to be a Katoni Stags sin bin.
That's a good shout.
Something about Stags. He doesn't mind the old the niggle.
No. Okay, jokes aside, it's not going to be Payne Haas for me. It's going to be safe Haas. He'll get sin binned because the guy doesn't know how to fucking act like
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great shout. Fuck.
The fans will rejoice.
Yeah.
But he'll do it after scoring a hat trick.
Don't know about that one.
I don't think there's any huge buys in this game.
Alex Seyfarth.
Not though.
17 break even. He's priced at 40. He's gonna average close to 50.
You know what? I may have to just eat my pride and bring the fucker back in just because I need an edge. Look,
I wouldn't be buying Seyfarth. He's past his prime. He's not going to average 50. He's going to get to about 46 or 47, I reckon. And then you're going to move him on. I don't think you buy Seyfarth now.
Oh, we'll see. I need to find an edge probably. A Sunday afternoon game, Manly versus the Storm. Still no Jerome Hughes, although he's named in the 22, so we probably expect a late in for Jerome if he's fit. The bookies have got the Storm still favourites for this one, even though they got pumped by the Dragons last week. What do you reckon, Josie?
These games are usually really strange. If it wasn't at Four Pines, I'd have like full faith in Melbourne to get the job done. I still think they will. I don't think that they'll be good enough to win without Turbo, though. I was speaking about superstitions and hoodoos earlier. If you guys recall, Lehigh Hopewadi's debut last season was against Melbourne at Four Pines Park, and they pulled off a massive upset.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that Manly get it done. I'm not writing them off. There's enough talent in the side. It just depends how quick Melbourne start. Like, they are a team that don't often put together two bad performances back to back. Like, we said that about Penrith to start the year, but I think that really does apply to Melbourne, and they're going to come out and really blow Manly off the park early and see if Manly can maintain and steady the ship. But I think this could actually be a fairly strong Melbourne win.
Yeah. Probably agree with everything you just said there, mate. Pretty much bang on for me.
As much as I would love to see Storm lose this game, Storm don't lose games consecutively. This will be a murder. I don't think Manly will be ready for what the Storm will come out with to begin the game with.
You own Cary Grant, don't you, Josie?
I do, yes, and I don't have high hopes for his score in this game. Like I said, I think these kind of turn into fantasy shitfests where no one scores particularly well. But yeah, I think Harry sort of tried to play a bigger role last week without Hughes. Like, he had a couple of pretty questionable options, to be quite frank, but it increased his involvement and made him run the footy more. So hopefully we see a bit more of that.
Yeah, I need to see something from Money this week. Like, I'm starting to lose patience with him.
In all fairness to Munster, he's played 3 games. The first one he did well in, and we're all very happy with his score. The subsequent 2 have been in real shitfest games, which were both plagued by heavy rain. Yeah, I don't think it's time to panic on Munster quite yet.
Yeah, but frustration's building, man. He got a 30. He got a 32 with 3 try assists.
It's just because you're a princess, Bryce, mate. He's fine. He's the type of guy where he has one score or a couple scores of like 70 plus. And the thing with Munster is he is a very boom or bust player. He has a lot of 30s in him, but he also has a lot of 70 plus games in him. If you look back at his history, he will have just random pop off games in games you wouldn't expect. Like 2023, last time he was fit, they were playing the Roosters, who were a top 4 side at the time. He scored 100 points. Just out of nowhere, randomly dominated that game. 400 kick meters. Like, he's the type of guy that will have breakout games out of nowhere. And I know it's frustrating to see him put 30s, especially when they're back to back, but he's perfectly fine as a fantasy option. Like, he hasn't really broken that many tackles this year, and he hasn't been that adventurous in terms of offloading. But I think that's, as Ridley just said, because of the weather conditions. He hasn't been that creative with the ball. He did feed Sean Bloor a lot of ball close to the line last week. He almost scored a few tries off that. I think that's going to continue and get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm just not happy with his tackling. Like, in the game.
He's never been a good tackler.
Yeah, he always misses tackles.
Not like that. Like, they were just bad efforts.
He has a 12 missed tackle game last year, in 2023.
Yeah,
last year he had a bunch of 7s.
He does miss. I know he missed tackles, man, but like, he's always a rush up effort type of guy. These were just bad efforts, and like, he might have been tired, raining, who knows? But I'm getting frustrated.
Agree with that. I don't think he is a rush up and miss guy. Like, not to the extent someone like James Maloney was. He does just slip off tackles. That happens to Munster quite regularly.
I don't know. I'm just frustrated. Missed tackles. If he doesn't miss them tackles, I'm quite happy with his scores. So he just needs to sort his shit out for me. I still think, though, he's a buy.
I wouldn't be buying him this week.
That way, yeah.
Like I said, these games are not great for fantasy between Melbourne and Manly typically, but he's got a couple of really nice fixtures after this. I think he's got South next week from memory.
Warriors. And
then maybe South after that. I don't know. I remember they play South at some point.
Yeah.
Fins, even better. Not the 3-1. Then they play South. Yeah, then we got it.
And then the Raiders, Tigers, and then Sharks into a bye. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm frustrated.
You hope by that point he makes enough money to sell.
I'm not selling
doing
him,
that for that.
but I'll sell him at Origin, but I'm not selling
that would
him
be.
now. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. By the time he gets to his buy, you'd be hoping that he's made money so we can sell him.
We've all started talking about Origin, even though it's way too early. I'm really looking at Harry Grant at some point, so that's just
I'm
I
not
need to watch
buying him.
Yeah, you're gonna stay away.
I'd like to, but if I bought him, it'd be for cash cow purposes. Essentially, I'd want him to make 100k. It was like it's the same reason that was one of the reasons I'm not going to be chasing Haas is I've got enough Origin players as is. I know we can hold more this year, but I think this year's actually more evident about the fact we should have our money not held up on our fucking 14 to 21 in Origin start guns, but actually playing in those 13 is going to be much more important for those 13 to be scoring well compared to just making sure you field an entire team.
I think I'm sorry, man, but I think Payne Haas is the easiest hold through Origin.
I think he is as well, but one, he's out of my price bracket already. I'd have to really do some stupid shit to get to him.
Yeah,
and and by the time
that's probably more the reason for not getting Haas than the Origin stuff.
Oh, for getting Grant at least, you mean? But yes, but I think the same principle applies to if you're like me and have missed out on Haas.
Yep.
I think that's also another consideration to add is to why not to blow your team up after him.
Yeah, and I think one thing that is people aren't really taking into account is just how many middle forwards are going to play Origin during that period. I think Terrell May is basically a lock given how he started the season. Haas is obviously a lock. Horse is a good shout if he can get back to the form he showed in the first 2 weeks. And then you have the obvious ones like Cleary or Ponga if you own him. And
probably Watson.
Munster, definitely. Watson's a really good shout. You need to be careful. And I agree with what you said in the sense that, we can hold these guys through Origin, but you want to be putting good 13s out, not just 13 players that you happen to have available.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of teams that are running Yo, Haas, and Terrell May. And whilst you're going to kill it for the next few weeks, I wouldn't be going out of your way to make that your frontline combo. Because all three of them will be in Origin, and you will need 3 new mids.
You're going to need to burn some trades if that's your mids.
That's why I kind of like Hopgood as well. I don't think he makes the Origin team. I think, unfortunately, Parramatta's form is going to sort of weigh on his potential selection. He was a bench guy at best in the first place anyway, and I don't think he makes the team with Tino back.
I appreciate that. As I said before about Hopgood, I just have some concerns. I'd like to wait a week on Hopgood to see how Dylan Walker may or may not affect his role.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I'm just going to wait for some injuries and pick up some mids that way.
Encounter Haas is going to get injured next week, so this is all arguments, the entire wash.
Right. Classic. Who is getting Simbined in this game? Manly.
All of them.
Yeah.
There's going to be 13 sin bins. Mate, every single player is gone.
Nathan Brown is gone for me. That is locked on.
Yeah, there's some real fucking spastics in this game, isn't there? It's the best way to describe it. Just guys that lose their head. I think Nelson's not playing. He's not in the team.
No, he's not.
Nelson's not playing.
Because he'd be a shoe-in. I hate to say it, but I think Munster's a good chance at a sin bin. Sean Bloor, maybe. And then for Manly, I think Nathan Brown. Olakuatu, because he's just so fucking big, it's really hard for him to get his arm below the player's head.
Yeah.
I reckon Saab's a good shout for it. That's a similar reason, especially when he's trying to defend his goal line. But my one that I'm going to pick is going to be Jack Howarth, just for Eddie to get another 20 score.
Brutal. And then on the other end, who's actually going to absolutely come out and pump this game? Who's going to get a nice score?
I actually back Munster this game. I reckon Munster's due a big one.
Yeah, big money.
And I think because the game will be a bit tight, I reckon Munster will have to step in a bit, especially without Hughes.
I'm going to say Eli Katoa. He looks so good. He is the best back row in the competition for me. And he was. They should have given him that try against St George, in my opinion. I thought that was a try.
if he was the best back row in the competition, he would have caught that fucking ball. Okay.
I actually think he did. Like I just said, I thought that was a try.
No, he knocked it into the Dragons player's hand for sure.
I don't know.
But no, wait. I think
Anyway.
Katoa's been good. He's been
Oh.
really good.
I'm going DCE. I think
Yeah, he's in for a big one.
he's got.
I hope that Ruben Garrick gets a head knock 10 minutes into this game.
No, shut up. No, he's not. He's coming back with another 50, and he's going to keep treating us Garrick enjoyers very well. That is what.
It's so weird, Ridley. All the players that we don't own are getting head knocks this week.
Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't wished anyone to die this week. It's been.
You did say someone was going to die. I can't remember who, but it wasn't a bus.
Yeah, it wasn't a bus.
Bateman. It was John Bateman, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, but he's dying from natural causes.
At least we've progressed from outright murder to he's going to mysteriously fall ill.
Final game of the round, boys. Bulldogs versus Knights. They got some players back. No, they don't actually.
Yeah, we do.
No.
Leo Thompson's back.
Oh, Leo's back. Yeah. The Knights have got some players back. Yep. So I'm going the Knights in this one.
Yeah,
I actually backed the Knights as well.
I was thinking about it just then, knowing this game was about to come up. And given it's expected to be a dry track on Sunday, I do think we have the edge. The left edge for the Knights is, even without Dylan Lucas, still quite threatening. Having Bradman Best and Ponga sort of patrolling that edge will cause problems for, I don't remember if it's Montoya or Wilson, and Bronson Sherry. I don't think they're the best defensive players in the competition, especially with Preston not on that edge anymore and playing on the left. I think if the Knights are going to win, and I don't know that we will, it's going to be through that left edge, and it's going to be through targeting those defensive liabilities that the Bulldogs have.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm
backing the Knights solely because I'm a Dogs hater after last week. So
yeah, look, I said on the day, like, the rain suits the Dogs far more than it does Cronulla. Like, Cronulla's outside backs are their obvious strength. Like, they're 1-7, and then the Bulldogs are just grinders. And if you get into a grind against them, they'll probably win because they're just better at it than basically everyone except for Penrith and Melbourne.
Well, I think the big issue with the Sharks, and I know we're going off track here, but is this that Sexton can kick so fucking far, and Hines can kick maybe 10 meters on a good day.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that might be an issue that the Knights face here, but I think if the weather's dry, as you say, I think it might be a bit better for the Knights solely because having a Greg Marzi or having a Ponga run the ball back is probably going to be a bit more effective than having Kennedy run the ball back.
Just a tiny bit, mate.
Yeah, Kennedy can't run fucking into a goddamn ball. Oh, fucking
having Kalen Ponga, Gagai, Best, Marzu, Sharp, like, just so much potent power in this Knights backline.
Yeah,
like their 1-6 is top quality. Even Schiller's turning into a great winger. Like, yeah,
he's got speed.
Yeah, he's turning into a great winger. He's learning his craft down there. Thomas Cant. A fair few people
trap.
Pretty high on him. You're saying a trap. What about you, Jay-Z?
I lean trap. I said last night that I think Frizz plays edge when Kai Pearce-Paul is back. I'm trying to talk myself into buying him, especially with Teague Wilton out now. I'm not confident that he holds that role, but it's promising that he played on the left. So there is a chance that with Kai Pearce-Paul back on the right, that he holds the left spot until Lucas is back. But I actually kind of think Pearce-Paul might just move to the left instead. So I lean towards trap because he's got a short time, even if he does win the spot. And his break-even's not that low, and he's at 500k already, so he's not really going to make 100k in 3 weeks unless he scores 60 plus every game, which I don't know if he can do.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to take the gamble at this point.
I don't. There's as Jay-Z's saying, there's just so much that can go wrong here. Like the only thing that I like about Cant as an option is that because he's 500k, he's gonna be a very easy pivot when he fucks up.
Yeah, and that's probably why I'm going to do it. I know what I'm going to get from him this week. I'll get a 50. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. If you, I don't know, because trades are valuable, but I don't think they're that valuable that you can't be taking crazy punts like this because his upside is really high. He's been really good in reserve grade for a while. I think he averages close to 50 down there, and you have to make more tackles in first grade. That we've seen that with Katonga as an example. So if you're willing to risk one trade, then Thomas, you can do a lot worse than Kant.
Yeah. So for me, it's either a Couchman or a Kant, and I just think
I'd lead Couchman in that one just because the best case scenario for Kant is he makes you 100k. Best case scenario for Couchman is he makes you 100k and he's a cut price keeper.
Yeah, but the best case for Kant is he comes out and scores a try against fucking Josh Curran and gets me a 70, whereas I'm probably going to get a 50 from Couchman in base.
Yeah, but that's a short-term view, right? Like you have to think about it over the long term, over the span of a season. Like if we get to round 25 and like I'll use this as an example because I was in the race to win overall last year. And if I had one more trade at the end of the year, I think I would have got Jerome Hughes and won fantasy because I would have captained him for that 97. So just be careful with using trades like that. Like I'm considering it myself because I'm probably more risky when it comes to guys like this. But yeah, keep that in the back of your mind.
Sorry, Jesse, did you say you almost won fantasy last year? That's so weird. You've never mentioned it before.
I know. It's a little known fact about me.
Look,
no, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with that. I think if you're going to take a risk, I think Couchman is the risk because the upside of Couchman is actually just so much higher than the upside of Cant because you have the opportunity to not waste another trade getting him out because he might be a cut price keeper.
Yeah,
being a cut price keeper, him making 100k. Whereas Kant's best case scenario is he makes 100k. Or he makes 150, whatever it'll be.
Yeah.
Short span, then you will have to trade him out because he's not going to hold the spot of KBP and Lucas.
Just interestingly enough, the bookies are telling us we know fuck all again because the Bulldogs are pretty strong favourites in this one.
Yeah, they would be.
Yeah, I mean, they're 4-0, and they've just beaten a top 4 side. And I think it was a rain-affected game, but they've just beaten a top 4 side convincingly. So
I think the Sharks are a bottom 4 side.
They should sign Alex Seyfarth. I hear he's really good.
Yeah, he'd be actually.
Wooden being out.
He'd be a great signing for the Sharkies, mate.
Can he play fullback? That might solve some issues as well.
Not well, but I'm sure he could wear the number 1.
I'm sure he can run harder than Kennedy.
Fletcher Sharp is absolutely killing it, eh? How good's that bloke?
Yeah, he is. I'm very, very happy with him. And the fact that we've tried him at 6, like people called Adam O'Brien a lunatic for doing that in preseason. But man, that's one of the best positional switches we've seen in a while. Absolutely murdering it at 5'8". Great support player, great runner. I don't know if he'll keep up a 60 average in fantasy, but man, I love watching him.
Yeah.
Last thing before we move on, I guess, is Preston.
Bye next week is the only downside to him, I think.
I can't afford him this week. Well, maybe now that I've got Tig out.
I think we all knew he was going to kill it the second kick out went down. I think we're seeing the reward of that for Preston. But my God, he looks so good.
He's just such a good player. Like he's quite clearly an elite back rower. And if he stays fit, like I think by the end of the year, he will be firmly in talks for representative honours.
But he's a New South Welshman, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's from Dubbo or something.
I'd be
somewhere
surprised
country.
if he managed to get into the side, given the depth of edge. Second rowers that there are. Like Liam Martin has one of those spots locked down no matter what.
For sure.
So
you have Ola Kawatu, Angus Crichton. As good as Preston is going, I'd be surprised he managed to beat either of those.
No, that's fair.
New South Wales also like to play like Murray and stuff on the edge as well. So
Yeah, it'll be hard to play with a torn Achilles for Cameron Murray, but hopefully.
I know, but like that type of player, right? Like it's not just you don't pick out and out edge back rowers to play there. You know, Victor Radley.
Certain Cameron Murray's going to rock up in a wheelchair and he's going to be wheeled out onto the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not this year, but that's where he's played previously.
No,
so
that's a fair comment. I will say though, he's almost done that out of necessity. Like, it's weird, right? Because New South Wales was a team with basically no back rowers for a few years, especially when Crichton went off the rails, and now we have all these mega talented back rowers. Like the fringe guys are Dylan Lucas and Jacob Preston, and there's probably others that I'm forgetting, but that's a hell of a depth to have, like in any position, really.
Okay.
And like I imagine Olakau'atu gets a bench spot there. I think in my mind that's almost locked in. He'll play edge off the bench for an impact role. It would just be who gets that starting role.
Yeah, well, it'll be Crichton and Martin, like almost certainly.
Yeah, that's how I think it would be. I'd be very surprised if Preston managed to make it, which is why I think Preston's still a good buy at this point. So, as you say, I think the big issue is just the buy next week.
Jay-Z, are you considering upgrading Teague to Preston right now?
It's not the worst idea. It's definitely something I'll have to look into. I thought he was a bit more expensive, actually.
He's about 80k, so yeah.
707. It's a nice price. I don't know. Like I said, the news has dropped during this pod, so I'll have to get in the lab and figure it out. But I certainly will be looking at upgrading Teague potentially.
Because he's now just pressed to be a hold all year, right? If he keeps that 80.
Preston's still priced exactly at it's almost exactly what he was priced at the start of the year. I think this is a good time to enter because Preston started quite slow in his first game. Like, yeah, I think this will be pretty close to as cheap as it'll be for the rest of the year, but it depends on if he goes back to not playing 80 minutes, which he's playing 80 minutes at the moment, and it's because Kickout is out. The question is when Kickout gets back, will he go back down to playing 68 and so every 68 minutes or so a game every now and then?
Yeah, possibly. I think he'll play 80 minutes all year, is my personal opinion. I think Kickout had to do it a lot last year because Preston was a bit undercooked. And while I sort of downplayed that in preseason, I mean, once he sort of got back into the team through round 21 to 24, he played 80 minutes every game. Must have been injured against the Warriors and then came back and played 80 minutes in the last game of the season. So he's their best back rower. Well, he might not be better than Kickout, but I think he's their biggest big minute back rower, and I think Kickout is used more effectively in like sort of that 55 to 65 minute role.
I think overall he's a better back rower than Kickout. I think Kickout's just got better attack in him. So
I think that I'm not going to be getting Preston this week, obviously, because I can't afford to do it. I want to get couch instead. But I think after the bye, I think there's a very good chance Preston will be coming into my team for someone like Safe Arthur White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad shout. Who is getting sent to the bin? Adam Elliott. Fuck that. I'm getting on Elliott right early.
I'm back in the week. Got a dog.
Salmon to the bin.
He doesn't hit hard enough to hit someone high.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be high.
That's not real. It's not every high tackle's a sin bin. That isn't a real thing, and that wasn't a headline.
We're clearly exaggerating this week. Just enjoy the memes.
No, but people believed that. Anyway, my vote is Max King.
Oh yeah, Big King.
The Big Verge.
Yeah. Look, I actually thought it was an April Fool's joke. When I first read it,
I still think it's
I had to go and look at multiple articles on multiple websites before I actually believed that they were talking about doing this.
No, it was.
But
Buzz threw it into to the extreme, having heavy fits after the Mahoney performance.
The problem isn't that there's too many high tackles. The problem is that there were 3 pretty obvious sin bins that didn't get called last week. Yep. So now they're going to those 50-50 ones are just going to be bins. Yeah, it was Reed and.
So Reed attacking Atkinson was one because that was clear on the floor. I don't think Reed on Rudolph was one because Rudolph was falling to the ground. I think that was fair. It was clearly Luai on whoever the Warriors player was. That was terrible. Who was the other one? I can't recall.
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Abjo came onto 3-600 and said there was 4.
Like that?
I can't recall 3. But I think the Mahoney one was particularly so egregiously obvious.
That Reed one is so bad. Like-
he was on the. I can understand if he's falling. I think that's actually a really fair thing to not get. Like, I think a penalty's fair because you've touched his head. And, there has to be some kind of consequence because you're meant to have a consistent view on that. But you should not be getting sin bin for hitting someone in the head that's falling. If you hit someone that's laying on the ground and not moving,
Yeah.
you should not be on the pitch. Full stop. And I think so you go.
Sorry. I think one of them was Satili Tupanua, the literal
Yeah.
last play of the game.
Yeah.
Or did he actually get binned?
Yeah, he
That
did
was
get sin
bad.
bin. He did get sin
Yeah,
bin.
right. Okay, that was the only one good enough.
So who is going big balls?
Greg the Leg scoring a hat trick
Mars.
and
Yeah,
coming back
Marzi-
to form.
Marzi against Wilson, I do rate that. I'm actually gonna back. Who am I? I'm gonna back fucking Kalen Ponga for a big one, despite the fact I don't own him.
Ponga.
I think he's gonna get toned up here.
Yeah, so in this fixture last year, this is a bad omen for Ponga because I went to this game with a couple of mates who are big Bulldogs fans. This is the game where Ponga, I think he had an AC joint or a hip pointer the week before. He came out and he looked like shit for 40 minutes, like he could barely move. And then he had that Liz Frank injury and was gone for like 10 weeks. So bad omens at the same ground on the same day. I can't back Ponga for a big one here.
I'm going to go Preston because I think I may have talked myself into bringing him in this week, so I might as well back him in for a big game.
I read it.
That is our games for the week. I'm excited. A lot of really good games this week. A lot of close ones. It's going to be some weird shenanigans. We're going to see people sent off. We're going to see people in the bin. I know you don't believe that, Jay-Z, but I 100% think someone's going to get sent off, mate. Like, they're going to go way too far with this shit.
I think the first game they will. I don't think it'll be that bad afterwards. I think they'll go too harsh, and then they'll get told to put it back.
That's not good for Horse, is it?
No, he's fucked.
Put him in the stable.
I honestly think the Horse will be sin bin no matter what this weekend.
Oh my
Even
God.
if there wasn't a crackdown, he'd do something dumb.
Yeah. Any last words of wisdoms, Rudes?
Meth is a hell of a drug.
Certainly is. Jay-Z, back to back, mate. You done fantastic effort. Final words.
Nathan Cleary is scoring a hat trick, and Bryce is going to be in the gutter when the Cowboys lose 70-0.
Well, I'm already in the gutter because we're shit. So I can't get any lower, mate.
Panthers don't put big scores on people.
Until they also don't lose 3 games in a row. So it's a year of firsts. Yeah.
I rate that. Fair.
If you are going to go to the Panthers game, enjoy it. You'll get to see a whitewash. Your team will be back winning. Well done. Congratulations. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Enjoy your weekend of rugby league. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening.